My friend, there is a hidden power in the simple act of repetition. What you repeat becomes your belief, and what you believe must solidify in your world. The numbers you are about to hold in your mind are not ordinary digits. They are a rhythm, a key, a vibration that speaks directly to your inner self. The sequence is this: 7, 2, 8, 4, not rushed, not forced, spoken with quiet authority, as though you are calling upon something that already belongs to you, for indeed you are. Every number carries a frequency, and when strung together, they form a language the subconscious understands. When you repeat 7, 2, 8, 4, you are not merely uttering sounds, you are declaring harmony, order, and fulfillment. Do not look for immediate proof in the outer world. The proof is already alive within you the moment you allow the numbers to sink into your imagination. When repeated with conviction, this sequence bypasses doubt and awakens certainty. It becomes the silent command to reality, reshaping the unseen into the seen. Think of it like planting a seed. The soil does not question the seed you place within it. It simply gives life to what is planted. Your mind works in the same way. When you drop 7284 into the soil of imagination, it begins to sprout, drawing circumstances, events, and opportunities into alignment with you. Do not underestimate its simplicity. Great power often hides in what seems small and insignificant. The world may laugh at numbers, but you will know their secret. Speak them in the stillness of night, repeat them upon waking, and whisper them in moments of doubt. Soon you will see the outer world bends to the inner rhythm. So I say to you, 7, 2, 8, 4. Let it echo until it becomes part of your being. For when you impress it upon yourself, life itself must respond. Numbers are more than digits. They are vibrations, keys that unlock doors in consciousness. To the ordinary mind, numbers appear as simple tools for counting, measuring, and calculating, yet beneath their surface lies a deeper essence. Every number carries a frequency, a soundless song, a pulse that resonates with the invisible fabric of reality. Just as music is built upon notes that stir the soul, numbers are tones of creation that shape the rhythm of your existence. When you engage with numbers consciously, you are not merely dealing with mathematics, you are touching the language of the universe. The ancients knew this truth well. They saw numbers not as dead symbols, but as living codes that reveal the hidden structure of life. 7 was seen as the number of completion, 2 the symbol of harmony, 8 the cycle of infinity, and 4 the foundation of stability. These meanings were not inventions of culture, but discoveries of vibration, insights into the way consciousness weaves its patterns. The mind responds to rhythm, and numbers hold rhythm within them. Repetition of certain sequences impresses the subconscious with order, focus, and clarity. The subconscious does not argue, question, or doubt. It simply receives what you impress upon it and gives it life. When you repeat a number pattern with faith, you are tuning your inner state to that vibration, and soon your outer world reflects that harmony back to you. Numbers can act as doors. They invite you into states of awareness that you may not have entered otherwise. A single sequence spoken with conviction, can calm the restless mind, release resistance, and summon the feeling of certainty. The outer world bends to these inner states, for the world is nothing but your imagination made visible. Numbers serve as the keys that turn the lock, opening gateways to experiences waiting for you on the other side. Think of the way a password grants you access to a hidden realm of information. Without the correct code, the door remains closed, no matter how much effort you exert. But with the right sequence, effortlessly, the door swings open. Numbers are like those passwords, and when you find the right combination, you unlock possibilities that once seemed out of reach. This is why repetition matters. Repetition imprints the vibration deep within your consciousness, carving a path for the new state to flow into form. Each time you speak or think a number pattern, you are striking a note within yourself. With each repetition, the sound grows stronger until it reverberates outward and rearranges the environment around you. Numbers then are not abstract. They are alive, carrying within them the wisdom of creation. They are bridges between thought and form, between imagination and manifestation. To work with numbers consciously is to work with the raw material of reality. And once you realize this, you no longer see them as empty digits, but as sacred vibrations, divine codes, whispering, guiding, and opening the doors of your consciousness. Repetition impresses the subconscious mind, and what is impressed must be expressed. This is one of the most powerful truths about human consciousness. The subconscious is not a judge, not a critic, not even a thinker in the way the conscious mind is. It is a receiver. It receives what is offered to it again and again, and once received, it accepts it as law. Once accepted, it works tirelessly to bring it into expression in your outer life. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper, the one that chooses what ideas, images, and patterns are allowed to be planted. But the subconscious mind is the soil, fertile, responsive, and unquestioning. Just as the earth does not ask whether a seed is of fruit or of poison, the subconscious does not ask whether an idea is good or bad, true or false. It only gives life to what is planted. And how do you plant into this soil? Through repetition. Every time you repeat a thought, an image, or a phrase, you are pressing it deeper into the subconscious layers of your being. At first, the conscious mind may resist. It may argue, saying, "This is not true," or "This cannot be." But persistence dissolves resistance. What you continue to impress through repetition eventually bypasses doubt and becomes a living reality within you. Once the impression is made, expression is inevitable. The subconscious governs the body, influences emotions, and draws circumstances to align with what it holds. This is why repeated fear manifests as fearful experiences, repeated worry attracts situations to worry about, and repeated confidence produces opportunities to shine. The outer life is nothing more than the mirror of repeated inner impressions. Consider how habits are formed. A single action does not make a habit, but repetition does. Perform an act long enough and it becomes automatic, no longer needing conscious effort. The same law applies to thought. Repeat a thought long enough and it becomes a belief. Beliefs then dictate your perception, and perception shapes your experience of the world. What began as a single repeated idea becomes the structure of your entire reality. This is why deliberate repetition is so vital. If you do not choose what to impress, the world will choose for you. Repetition is happening whether you are aware of it or not. the conversations you listen to, the media you consume, the words you speak to yourself, all of these are repetitions shaping your subconscious. By taking control of repetition, you take control of creation. You choose the seed instead of letting weeds grow unattended. When you decide on the image of what you desire and repeat it with feeling, the subconscious accepts it as fact. It then begins to orchestrate unseen movements to bring it into form. The law is simple yet profound. What is impressed must be expressed. There is no other way. The inner pattern must show itself outwardly. Thus, repetition is the tool by which you write the script of your life. 7284 is not random. It is a pattern, a code to align your thoughts with manifestation. Numbers carry meaning beyond their appearance, and when arranged in certain sequences, they form vibrations that speak directly to the subconscious mind. To one who only sees numbers as digits, this sequence may appear ordinary. Yet, to the one who understands the inner workings of consciousness, it is recognized as a signal, a rhythm that aligns the inner state with the outer reality. Every number has a character, a symbolic resonance, and a frequency that interacts with the mind. 7 points to completeness, a sense of wholeness and spiritual fulfillment. 2 symbolizes harmony, duality brought into balance, the dance between the inner and outer. 8 is the infinite cycle, abundance flowing without beginning or end. 4 anchors all of this into form, a stable foundation upon which manifestation takes shape. When brought together in the sequence 7-8-4, these energies do not clash, but flow in a deliberate rhythm. They call the mind into order, moving you from the unseen to the seen, from the thought to the thing. Patterns are not accidents, they are the fingerprints of creation. Just as the planets orbit in harmony and music follows precise scales, so too does consciousness respond to sequences. When you repeat 7284, you are not engaging in meaningless repetition. You are aligning your thought with the frequency of completion, harmony, infinite supply, and stability. This alignment impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious must then express it in the form of experiences that match its vibration. Think of a safe with a hidden lock. The tumblers inside respond only to the right code. Without the correct sequence, no amount of force will open it, but with the right pattern, the lock yields effortlessly. So it is with manifestation. The sequence 7284 is such a code, not in the sense of a mechanical key, but as a symbolic rhythm that shifts the inner state. And when the inner state shifts, the outer world must follow. The true power is not in the digits themselves, but in what they awaken in you. Numbers serve as tools to bypass the restless conscious mind, which often doubts, questions, and resists. By repeating 7284 with faith, the mind relaxes into rhythm, and the subconscious accepts the impression without resistance. Once impressed, expression is certain. Life will organize itself to mirror the state that has been accepted within. You may notice subtle shifts at first, a sense of calm, synchronicities, or small openings in areas where you once felt blocked. These are not coincidences, they are evidence of alignment. As you persist with the pattern, the small signs grow into tangible manifestations, and what was once unseen becomes your lived experience. Understand that 7284 is not random, it is deliberate. It is a key placed in your hands, a reminder that manifestation is not about struggle, but alignment. Speak it, repeat it, feel it, and let it resonate within, for in doing so, you unlock the flow of reality itself. When spoken with faith, numbers transform into energy that shapes reality. Words themselves are carriers of vibration, and when combined with numbers, they become even more potent. For numbers are universal symbols that bypass language and reach the subconscious directly. Yet it is not the mechanical act of speaking numbers that holds the power. It is the faith with which they are spoken. Faith is the invisible fire that ignites words, turning them from empty sounds into living energy that molds your world. The subconscious does not differentiate between words spoken in jest or in conviction. It only responds to the depth of belief behind them. When you repeat a number sequence like 7284 with a heart full of doubt, it remains a hollow exercise. But when you repeat it with a quiet assurance that it carries meaning, that it is already working within you, the subconscious receives it as truth. Faith is the substance that bridges imagination and manifestation, and without it, repetition is like scattering seeds on barren ground. With it, even the smallest impression takes root and grows into form. Numbers, when spoken with faith, generate a rhythm within the body. They calm the restless mind and align your inner state with certainty. Faith eliminates resistance, and resistance is the only barrier between you and what you desire. The moment faith enters, the energy is released freely. It travels beyond your conscious awareness, weaving into the field of life itself, drawing to you people, circumstances, and events that mirror the energy you have impressed. This is why faith cannot be forced. It is a knowing, a quiet confidence that rises when you surrender doubt. When you speak numbers faithfully, you are not begging the world to change. You are declaring that the change has already been made within. The numbers serve as a symbolic anchor, focusing your awareness so deeply that the feeling of fulfillment becomes real before it is visible. And when something is real within, reality cannot help but conform to it without. Think of how a tuning fork works. Strike one fork, and another of the same frequency begins to vibrate, even at a distance. Faith works in the same way. Your faithful repetition of numbers strikes a vibration within, and the external world, being but an echo of your internal state, begins to resonate with it. People who were once indifferent suddenly take notice. Opportunities that seemed closed swing open. What looked immovable begins to shift. All of it flows naturally because energy, once activated, must express itself. Numbers are a language older than words. They speak directly to the order of the universe. When spoken with doubt, they are mere sounds. But when clothed in faith, they are living currents, invisible yet unstoppable. They transform from digits on a page into energy moving through you and around you, reshaping reality itself. The act is simple, but the result is profound. A world remade in the image of your inner conviction. The outer world is but a mirror of the inner rhythm you hold in mind. Life does not show you random events or circumstances. It reflects back the state of consciousness you continually entertain. Just as a mirror gives you the image you present before it, so does the world echo the rhythm of thought and feeling that you sustain within. If your inner rhythm is one of doubt, fear, or lack, the outer reflection will appear unstable, chaotic, and unsatisfying. But when the rhythm you carry within is one of faith, peace, and certainty, The world cannot help but mirror that harmony in visible form. Rhythm is the repeated pattern of your thoughts, your emotions, and your expectations. Most people are unaware of the rhythm they hold because it feels normal, automatic. Yet the subconscious mind records it all, and through its impressions, it projects an external reality consistent with the internal pattern. This is why two people can walk through the same world yet live vastly different lives. One holds a rhythm of abundance and experiences opportunity at every turn, while another holds a rhythm of struggle and finds only obstacles. The world is not to blame, for the world is merely a canvas. The inner rhythm is the brush, and what you continually paint must appear. It is not enough to think a single positive thought or repeat a hopeful phrase once. Just as music requires consistency to form a melody, your inner life requires consistency to form reality. A stray note does not make a song. A fleeting thought does not make a life. But when thought becomes a rhythm, when feeling becomes sustained, reality aligns itself to that steady beat. The outer reflection has no choice but to match the inner music you are playing. You may notice this in the smallest details. If you wake with gratitude, the day often unfolds with ease. If you rise in irritation, the hours seem to bring only more reasons to be irritated. This is not coincidence, it is reflection. Life is always echoing your inner rhythm. The power lies in becoming conscious of it, for once you recognize the song you are playing within, you can choose to change it. When you deliberately create a rhythm of faith, repeating numbers, words, or images that carry the feeling of fulfillment, the mirror must shift. It may not change instantly, for mirrors sometimes reflect old images still lingering in mind. But with persistence, the old rhythm fades and the new one takes its place, bringing with it a new reflection. This is why persistence matters. You are not fighting the world, you are simply training the inner rhythm until it becomes your natural state. The secret is to remember that the outer has no life of its own. It does not act first, it only responds. What you carry inside, whether knowingly or unknowingly, is what you will see outside. Align the rhythm of your mind with the reality you wish to experience, and soon the mirror of life will reveal it to you with clarity. Aligning with the right sequence dissolves resistance and calls forth what is already yours. The moment you align with the correct rhythm in consciousness, what once felt difficult suddenly becomes effortless. Resistance is not an external force blocking you. It is the inner conflict between what you desire and what you continually affirm in thought and feeling. When the mind is divided, reality appears delayed. But when the mind is ordered, when you lock into the right sequence, everything begins to flow. The sequence can be numbers, words, or even images repeated with faith. What matters is not the outer form, but the harmony it creates within. The subconscious responds to order. It thrives on patterns. When you impress upon it a sequence that carries meaning, the scattered thoughts of doubt begin to dissolve, and the energy of conviction takes over. This is the dissolving of resistance, not by struggle, not by forcing circumstances, but by quiet inner alignment. Imagine water held back by a dam. The water is always pressing, always ready to move. Resistance is like the dam built of fear, worry, and contradiction. Alignment is the removal of the dam. The water flows, not because you created it, but because it was already there. In the same way, your desires are not distant or withheld. They exist within you already, waiting to be expressed. Aligning with the right sequence simply removes the mental block, allowing what is already yours to appear in the visible world. This is why some people manifest with ease while others struggle endlessly. The difference is not in worthiness, luck, or fate. It lies only in alignment. The right sequence brings your thoughts, emotions, and expectations into a single rhythm. When you feel this alignment, there is no strain, no desperation, no chasing. You move as though the desire is already accomplished, and life responds in kind. The beauty of alignment is its simplicity. You do not have to beg or bargain with life. You do not have to convince the universe to grant you a blessing. The blessing is already yours, imprinted in consciousness the moment you longed for it. What you seek is seeking you, but it cannot reach you while you hold to opposing rhythms. Align and you meet it halfway, align and it rushes to meet you. When you repeat a sequence like 7-2-8-4 with faith, you are not creating something new, you are tuning yourself to what is already present in potential. The outer shift is simply the echo of the inner change. Resistance crumbles because there is nothing left within you to oppose what you desire. The mind rests in certainty, and from that certainty doors open, paths clear, and opportunities arise without effort. To align with the right sequence is to step into the flow of inevitability. It is to stop striving and to start receiving. It is to know that you are not asking for what is beyond you, but claiming what is already yours. And once you hold that alignment, life must reveal it. For reality has no choice but to follow the order of consciousness. You have now seen that numbers are not empty symbols, but living vibrations, rhythms that impress the subconscious and shape the world around you. What you hold within, you will see without. Repetition is the key that carves new patterns in the mind, and the right sequence dissolves resistance and unlocks what has always belonged to you. Remember, 7-8-4 is not random. It is a code, a rhythm of completion, harmony, infinite flow, and foundation. Speak it with faith, hold it with certainty, and watch as life mirrors back the order you have planted. The world will bend to the rhythm you sustain. The seed has already been sown. Now, trust its harvest. Thank you, Lion. Thank you for listening, my friend. If these words have stirred something within you, hold them close, repeat them often, and let them work their way into your life. Your manifestation is already on its way.
There is a profound truth that governs this life we live. The one who places God above all else lacks nothing. When you align yourself with the infinite, when you make the divine presence your anchor, everything else, wealth, love, purpose, falls into place. But what does it mean to put God first? It is not a mere statement of faith or a ritual of worship. It is a daily, moment-by-moment practice of prioritizing the unseen over the seen, the eternal over the temporary. When you live from this center, you are no longer swayed by the shifting winds of life. Challenges may arise, but they lose their power to destabilize you because you are rooted in something eternal. The divine center is not outside of you, it resides within, waiting to be acknowledged. This is the great mystery. The same power that created the stars and moves the tides also dwells in the depths of your being. To recognize this is to awaken to your true nature. Most people live scattered lives, pulled in countless directions by desires, fears, and obligations. They chase success, relationships, or material wealth, believing these things will bring fulfillment. But this outward striving only leads to exhaustion, because it ignores the source from which all blessings flow. Divine centering requires a shift in perspective, a turning inward. It is the practice of realizing that everything you seek externally already exists in its fullness within you. When you make this realization, the world outside becomes a reflection of your inner alignment, rather than a force that dictates your state of being. listen to yourself in the divine is to prioritize the unseen over the seen. This means trusting in the power of faith, imagination, and belief even when circumstances appear contrary. It is not about denying the reality of challenges, but about refusing to give them dominion over your spirit. When you are centered, you are no longer a victim of life's fluctuations. You become a creator, consciously shaping your experiences by aligning with a higher power within. This alignment begins with stillness. In the quiet moments when you withdraw from the distractions of the world, you find the presence of the divine. It speaks not in words but in the gentle assurance that all is well, that you are supported, loved, and guided. This stillness is not mere inactivity, it is a dynamic connection with the infinite, a place where inspiration flows and clarity emerges. Through meditation, prayer, or simple moments of reflection, you tap into this reservoir of wisdom and power. Divine centering also requires faith, not blind faith, but a knowing that transcends logic and evidence. Faith is the bridge between what is and what can be. When you center your life on the divine, you trust in outcomes before they manifest. You understand that your imagination is a powerful tool given to you by the Creator to shape your reality. By seeing yourself as already healed, abundant, or fulfilled in your mind's eye, you align with the divine vision for your life. Living from the divine center transforms your relationships, your work, and your sense of self. You no longer seek validation or security from external sources because you are anchored in a power that cannot be shaken. This does not mean you abandon the world or its responsibilities. Rather, you approach them from a place of wholeness. You give freely because you are not afraid of lack. You love deeply because you are not attached to outcomes. You work diligently because your efforts are an expression of the divine flow through you, not a desperate attempt to prove your worth. When you make the divine your center, life becomes a harmonious dance. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are dissolved, not through struggle, but through the realization that they were never separate from the divine plan. The things you once chased begin to flow effortlessly into your life because you are no longer resisting them with fear or doubt. You understand that the universe is conspiring in your favor, and your role is simply to remain aligned with this truth. Divine centering is not a one-time decision but a continual practice. It requires vigilance, for the world will constantly pull you away, tempting you to place your faith in external circumstances. But every moment is an opportunity to return to your center, to reaffirm your trust in the infinite power within. When you do, you will find that you are never truly lost, for the divine is always there, waiting to guide you back to the truth of who you are. Imagination is the sacred tool through which the divine communicates with you. It is not merely the realm of fantasy or idle daydreaming, it is the language of creation, the voice of God whispering within your mind. When you recognize the true power of imagination, you understand that it is not separate from the divine. Instead, it is the divine itself seeking to express, create, and manifest through you. From the beginning of time, every great achievement, every monumental discovery, and every work of art has been birthed in the imagination. It is the blueprint of reality, the invisible stage upon which all things take form before they manifest in the physical world. Yet, so often, people dismiss imagination as insignificant, failing to see that it is their direct connection to the infinite creative power of the universe. To ignore your imagination is to ignore God's voice within you. Through imagination, the divine plants desires, ideas, and visions in your heart. These are not random or meaningless, they are the seeds of your purpose, waiting to be nurtured into reality. When you imagine something deeply and vividly, you are engaging in an act of creation. You are shaping the unseen substance of the universe into a form that aligns with your vision. This process is not passive, it requires faith and intention. To imagine is to say, I believe this is possible, even when your physical senses may suggest otherwise. Imagination is also the realm where you can commune with the divine. In the stillness of your mind, when you allow your thoughts to flow freely, you open a channel for divine inspiration. These moments of clarity, insight, or creative brilliance are not accidents. They are the voice of God speaking to you, guiding you toward your highest good. But to hear this voice, you must silence the noise of doubt, fear, and limitation. You must trust that your imagination is not leading you astray but drawing you closer to the life you were meant to live. Many people misuse their imagination, allowing it to be dominated by worry, fear, and negative scenarios. They rehearse their failures, anticipate rejection, and dwell on problems, inadvertently creating more of the very things they wish to avoid. What they do not realize is that their imagination is always active, always creating. It does not discriminate between positive and negative thoughts. It simply brings into form whatever is most vividly held in the mind. To use imagination wisely is to discipline it, directing it toward visions of joy, success, and fulfillment. When you understand imagination as the voice of God within, you begin to use it intentionally. Instead of allowing your mind to wander aimlessly, you choose to dwell on the good you wish to see in your life. You see yourself as healthy, even if illness persists. You imagine abundance, even if your bank account is empty. You picture harmony, even if conflict surrounds you. This is not denial, it is an act of faith. You are aligning with the divine reality that exists beyond appearances. Imagination also gives you the power to transform your past. While you cannot change events, you can reimagine their meaning. Through the lens of imagination, painful experiences can become lessons, and losses can reveal hidden blessings. This ability to reshape your perception is another way the divine speaks to you, reminding you that you are not bound by what has been, but are free to create what will be. Children often demonstrate the purest use of imagination. They see the world not as it is, but as it could be, untainted by doubt or limitation. As adults, we are called to return to this childlike faith not in naivety, but in a deep spiritual understanding of our creative power. When you embrace imagination as God's voice within, you reclaim this innocence and possibility. Imagination is not just a tool, it is a sacred responsibility. Each time you use it, you are co-creating with the divine, shaping the world not only for yourself, but for those around you. To honor this gift is to honor the Creator, recognizing that you are a vessel through which the infinite expresses itself. By listening to the voice of imagination and acting upon its guidance, you align with your divine purpose and step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Faith is the cornerstone of all creation, the unseen force that binds the invisible with the visible, the formless with the formed. It is the ultimate priority because it determines the essence of your life. Without faith, even the grandest visions crumble under the weight of doubt and fear. With faith, mountains move, obstacles dissolve, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Faith is not a passive hope, but an active trust in the unseen power that governs all things. It is the assurance that what you desire is not only possible, but already present, waiting to manifest. To make faith your ultimate priority is to choose it above fear, doubt, and appearances. It is to believe in the promise of the unseen even when everything around you seems contrary. Faith does not require evidence, it creates evidence. It does not rely on what the physical senses perceive, it draws from the limitless reservoir of possibilities that exist beyond them. Faith is the bridge between your inner vision and your external reality. When you prioritize it, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you without resistance. Faith begins in the mind. What you consistently hold as true in your thoughts will eventually express itself in your life. This is not a matter of wishful thinking, but a law of creation. The mind is the soil, and faith is the seed. When you plant the seed of belief and nurture it with focus and intention, it grows into the reality you experience. However, if the soil is filled with weeds of doubt and fear, the seed struggles to take root. This is why faith must be guarded and prioritized above all else. It requires vigilance, a deliberate choice to turn away from negativity and toward the assurance of the good you desire. Living with faith as your priority means trusting in the unseen processes that bring your desires to fruition. It is like planting a seed in the ground. You do not dig it up daily to check its progress. You trust that the earth, water, and sunlight are working together to bring it to life. Similarly, when you act in faith, You release the need to control every detail and instead rest in the certainty that what you have envisioned is on its way. This trust frees you from anxiety and allows you to live in peace, even while waiting for the manifestation. Faith is also a practice of gratitude. When you believe that your desires are already fulfilled, you naturally feel thankful, even before you see the results. Gratitude is a powerful force that amplifies faith, creating a cycle of belief and blessing. By expressing thanks for what you have yet to receive, you affirm your trust in the process and open yourself to greater abundance. This is not blind optimism, but a profound understanding of how the universe responds to faith and focus. Making faith your ultimate priority transforms how you respond to challenges. In moments of difficulty, faith reminds you that setbacks are not the end, but a stepping stone to greater things. It helps you see beyond the immediate problem to the larger picture, trusting that every obstacle carries within it the seed of a solution. Faith gives you resilience, enabling you to stand firm when circumstances seem overwhelming. It is the anchor that keeps you grounded in truth when the storms of life threaten to shake you. Faith is not dependent on the approval or validation of others. It is a deeply personal connection between you and the divine source within you. When you prioritize faith, you stop seeking external guarantees and instead rely on the quiet assurance of your inner knowing. This inner conviction gives you the courage to take bold steps, even when the path ahead is unclear. It allows you to act as if the promise is already fulfilled, for you know that your belief is the first step toward its realization. To make faith the ultimate priority is to surrender the need to know how or when your desires will manifest. It is to trust that the same power that placed the desire within you is already orchestrating the means to fulfill it. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength, for it acknowledges that the divine wisdom guiding your life is far greater than your limited understanding. In every moment, you have a choice to live by faith or to live by fear. When you choose faith, you align yourself with the infinite possibilities of the universe. You become a co-creator with the divine, shaping your reality through trust and belief. Faith as the ultimate priority is not just a spiritual ideal, it is a practical necessity. It is the foundation upon which all success, joy, and fulfillment are built. When you live by faith, you open the door to a life beyond your wildest dreams. The world often encourages you to look outward for guidance, validation, and fulfillment. It tells you that the answers to your problems lie in material success, relationships, or external circumstances. But no matter how far you search, the external world will always fall short, because it is merely a reflection of your inner state. The inner kingdom is the source, the cause behind every effect you experience. To access it is to tap into the wellspring of creation, where the true answers are found. This kingdom operates in stillness, beyond the noise and distractions of daily life. To enter it, you must turn your attention inward, away from the constant demands of the senses and the restless chatter of the mind. This turning inward is not an act of withdrawal, but of profound connection. It is a journey to the core of your being, where you find the presence of the divine. In this silence, the answers you seek begin to emerge not as a voice shouting over the chaos, but as a quiet knowing, a gentle certainty that guides you with clarity and wisdom. The answers within the inner kingdom do not always come in the form of immediate solutions or step-by-step instructions. Often they come as a shift in perspective, a deeper understanding of yourself and the situation at hand. You may find that the questions you thought were so pressing dissolve in the light of this inner wisdom. Problems lose their weight, not because they disappear, but because you see them from the vantage point of your higher self, the part of you that is connected to the infinite. The inner kingdom is also the realm of imagination, the divine faculty through which you shape your reality. When you envision the life you desire, you are drawing upon the creative power of this kingdom. Your imagination is not separate from this inner source, it is one of its greatest gifts, allowing you to see beyond current circumstances and into the realm of possibility. By imagining with faith and intention, you activate the power of the inner kingdom to bring your visions into reality. One of the most profound truths about the inner kingdom is that it is always accessible. No matter how far you feel you've strayed, no matter how lost or disconnected you may seem, the kingdom within remains unchanged. It does not judge or withhold its gifts, it simply waits for you to turn your attention back to it. In every moment you have the power to reconnect, to quiet your mind and listen to the wisdom that flows from within. As you learn to live from the inner kingdom, you begin to see the world differently. You no longer feel the need to control or force outcomes, for you understand that everything unfolds from within. You approach life with a sense of peace, knowing that you carry the answers to all things within you. Challenges become opportunities for growth, and uncertainty becomes an invitation to trust the process of creation. The inner kingdom is not just a place of answers, it is a place of profound joy, love, and fulfillment. It is the source of your deepest desires and the means through which they are realized. To dwell in this kingdom is to live in harmony with the divine, to experience life as it was meant to be free, abundant, and filled with purpose. When you recognize that the inner kingdom holds all answers, you step into the fullness of your true self, empowered to create a life that reflects the infinite beauty within. Your true desires are not arbitrary whims or fleeting thoughts, they are the whispers of God's will within you. They are the compass guiding you toward your highest purpose, placed in your heart not by accident, but by divine intention. To understand this is to see your desires not as selfish or materialistic pursuits, but as sacred calls to action, aligning you with the infinite wisdom and love of the Creator. God's will and your deepest desires are one and the same, for He speaks to you through the longings of your heart, urging you to step into the fullness of your potential. Many misunderstand the nature of desire, viewing it as something to suppress or deny in the pursuit of spiritual growth. Yet true desires, the ones that resonate deeply within your soul, are not born of ego or greed. They come from a place of divine inspiration, a reflection of the life God intends for you to live. These desires are uniquely yours, tailored to your journey, and are meant to lead you toward experiences that will expand your understanding of love, joy, and purpose. When you align with your true desires, you are not acting against God's will, you are fulfilling it. These desires are like seeds planted in your heart, waiting to be nurtured through faith and action. They are meant to grow into expressions of the divine, manifesting in ways that not only bless you but also serve the greater good. To ignore or dismiss these desires is to deny the creative power within you, the same power through which God brings His will to life. Living in harmony with God's will means trusting the desires He has placed within you, even when they challenge you or seem impossible. Often these desires will require you to step out of your comfort zone, to let go of limiting beliefs, and to embrace the unknown. This is not a test of your worthiness, but an invitation to grow. Through the pursuit of your true desires, you become more of who you were created to be, discovering strengths and gifts you may not have known you possessed. Your desires also serve as a form of divine communication, a way for God to reveal His will for your life. They are not random, they are deeply connected to your unique gifts and the contributions you are meant to make in the world. By following them, you align with the greater plan, becoming a vessel through which God's love and creativity flow. In this way, pursuing your desires is not selfish, it is an act of service, fulfilling your role in the intricate tapestry of life. The obstacles you encounter on this journey are not signs that your desires are misguided. Instead, they are opportunities to deepen your faith, refine your character, and strengthen your resolve. Every challenge you face in pursuit of your desires carries within it the seeds of transformation. These moments are where you learn to trust in God's timing and wisdom, knowing that delays and detours are part of the process, shaping you into the person who can fully receive and steward the blessings ahead. It is also important to discern between fleeting wants and true desires. Superficial wants often stem from fear, comparison, or societal pressures, while true desires come from a place of inner peace and alignment. You will recognize these desires by the sense of purpose and fulfillment they bring, even before they manifest. They resonate deeply within you, carrying an undeniable sense of rightness that transcends logic or external validation. To live in alignment with God's will is to embrace your desires with confidence and gratitude. It is to see them as sacred, trusting that they are leading you toward a life that glorifies God and blesses others. This alignment does not mean you will never face uncertainty or struggle, but it does mean you will always have a guiding light within, pointing you toward your highest good. When you honor your true desires, you honor God. You acknowledge His presence within you and His loving plan for your life. By stepping into this alignment, you become a co-creator with the divine, bringing His will to life in ways that inspire, uplift, and transform. In this partnership, you find not only the fulfillment of your desires, but also the deep peace and joy of living in harmony with the Creator. The world is filled with temptations that entice us into believing that our worth and happiness are tied to external things, possessions, achievements, relationships, and status. These worldly attachments create the illusion of permanence and fulfillment, but they are fleeting and ever-changing. To anchor yourself in them is to build your life on a foundation of shifting sands. True peace and freedom come only when you see through the illusion and recognize that your essence is not dependent on what you have or achieve, but on the divine presence within you. Worldly attachments thrive on the promise of satisfaction, but they deliver only momentary gratification. The pursuit of wealth, recognition, or approval may provide temporary highs, yet they always leave an insatiable void, urging you to seek more. This cycle is not a reflection of failure or inadequacy, but of the nature of external things. They cannot provide lasting fulfillment because they are not designed to. Fulfillment comes from within, from a connection to the infinite and unchanging source of all life. Attachments arise when you identify yourself with what you possess or achieve. You begin to believe that your value is tied to your material success, your relationships, or the roles you play in life. This identification is the root of much suffering, for it binds you to a constant state of striving and fearing loss. When you derive your sense of self from the external, you become vulnerable to the inevitable changes of life. Wealth can fade, relationships can shift, and status can diminish, leaving you feeling adrift and powerless. The illusion of worldly attachments is deeply tied to the idea of control. You may cling to things or people, believing that by holding on tightly, you can prevent loss or maintain happiness. Yet control is another aspect of the illusion. Life is in constant motion, and the more you try to grasp at its impermanence, the more it slips through your fingers. Freedom is not found in holding on, but in letting go, in trusting that the divine order of the universe will provide all that you need. Detachment does not mean renouncing the world or rejecting its beauty and opportunities. It means engaging with life without being enslaved by it. You can enjoy the blessings of material abundance, relationships, and achievements, but you do so with the awareness that they are not the source of your worth or happiness. Detachment is not indifference, it is freedom. It allows you to live fully and gratefully, knowing that your true identity and joy are independent of external circumstances. The illusion of worldly attachments is often reinforced by fear of loss, rejection, or failure. These fears keep you bound to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves your highest good. To break free, you must confront these fears with faith, trusting that letting go will not leave you empty, but will open the way for something greater. When you release your grip on the transient, you create space for the eternal to flow into your life. Recognizing the illusion requires a shift in perception. You begin to see the external world not as the ultimate reality, but as a reflection of your inner state. The things you once chased for validation become mirrors, showing you where you have placed your power outside yourself. This awareness is not a cause for despair, but a call to reclaim your sovereignty. It reminds you that true security and fulfillment come not from what you acquire, but from your alignment with the divine source within you. When you see through the illusion, you realize that you are not here to accumulate but to express. You are a vessel for divine creativity, love, and wisdom, and your purpose is to bring these qualities into the world. The things and experiences you once sought as ends in themselves become tools for growth and expression, no longer chains that bind you but instruments that serve your journey. The practice of letting go is not always easy. It requires faith, courage, and patience. But as you release your attachments, you begin to experience a profound sense of peace and freedom. You discover that the less you cling, the more you receive, and the less you fear, the more you are able to love. Letting go is not a loss, it is a return to your true nature, a state of unity with the infinite abundance of life. Worldly attachments lose their power when you anchor yourself in the eternal. As you turn inward, you find the unshakable foundation that cannot be taken or diminished. This inner connection is the source of all that is good, true, and lasting. From this place you engage with the world not as a seeker, but as a creator, not as one in need, but as one who is whole. The illusion fades and you step into the reality of your divine essence, free and fulfilled. Living from the fulfillment of oneness is the ultimate realization of your true nature and the divine unity that underpins all existence. This fulfillment begins with the understanding that separation is an illusion. From the world often appears the abundant flow of creation, filled with distinctions and divisions. Oneness is not merely a concept to be intellectually understood, but a profound state of being. But these dualities are simply manifestations of the mind's tendency to categorize and label. All you desire, beneath this surface and all you strive for, already exists lies the unchanging reality you and the Creator are one. You are a part of this wholeness, intricately connected to every aspect of existence. To live from this oneness is to rise above the illusion of division and embrace the infinite nature of your being. Oneness is the essence of abundance, for there is no lack in unity. When you live with the awareness that you are one with the Creator, you understand that the source of all life, creativity, and prosperity is already within you. There is no need to grasp, beg, or strive endlessly for external things, because you recognize that what you desire is not separate from you. It flows through you and is available to you as soon as you align with it in consciousness. To live from the fulfillment of oneness is to embody the truth that you already are what you seek. This state of fulfillment is not dependent on circumstances. It does not require the perfect job, the ideal relationship, or the resolution of every challenge. Instead, it arises from the recognition that your worth and peace come from within, from your divine connection to the whole. Circumstances may change, challenges may come and go, but the sense of oneness remains constant. It is the unshakable foundation that allows you to move through life with grace, confidence, and joy. To live from oneness is also to transcend fear and doubt. Fear arises from the belief in separation, the idea that you are alone, vulnerable, or lacking something essential. But when you know that you are one with the infinite, fear loses its grip. You trust the divine flow of life, knowing that you are always supported, always guided, and always provided for. This trust allows you to act with courage and faith, knowing that every step you take is part of the greater unfolding of your purpose. The fulfillment of oneness transforms your relationships. When you see others as extensions of the same divine essence that flows through you, you no longer feel the need to compete, judge, or compare. Love becomes your natural response, because you recognize that in loving others, you are loving yourself and honoring the Creator. This perspective dissolves conflict, heals wounds, and fosters deep, meaningful connections. Relationships cease to be transactions or sources of validation, and instead become opportunities to express and receive the infinite love that flows through all of creation. Living from oneness also reshapes how you approach challenges. You no longer see obstacles as barriers, but as invitations to grow and expand. You understand that the same creative power that birthed the universe resides within you, enabling you to overcome any difficulty. Your challenges become opportunities to deepen your connection to the divine and to express the fullness of your potential. With this awareness, you face life with resilience and optimism, knowing that every experience is part of your journey toward greater self-realization. The fulfillment of oneness brings a profound sense of peace. It quiets the restless mind, dissolves the need for validation, and frees you from the endless pursuit of external goals. This peace does not come from avoiding life's complexities, but from embracing them with the understanding that you are never alone, never lacking, and never separate from the divine. It is a peace that allows you to be fully present, living fully from alive, the fulfillment of and oneness, fully engaged is the realization that your life is not a quest to become something but an awakening to what you already are. You are a divine expression of the infinite, complete and whole in every way. When you live from this awareness, you radiate love, joy, and abundance, inspiring others to see the same truth within themselves. In oneness, you find not only fulfillment, but also the profound realization that you are, and have always been, one with all that is. In conclusion, to put God first above all else is to live in alignment with the divine truth of your being. It is to recognize that the Creator is not separate from you, but is the essence of all that you are, and all that you experience. By centering your life on this truth, you transcend the illusions of separation, fear, and lack, and step into the fullness of divine unity, abundance, and peace. When you live with faith, guided by the divine will within, you unlock the limitless power of oneness and discover that everything you seek has always been within you. As you journey forward, may you continually choose to release attachments to the transient and embrace the eternal presence of God within you. Let this divine awareness be the foundation of your life, guiding your actions, shaping your relationships, and bringing you the fulfillment that can only come from living as one with the infinite. Thank you for opening your heart and mind to these words. May they inspire and empower you to live in the profound joy and freedom of divine unity. Blessings to you always. My friends, let us pause for a moment and reflect on the wonder that is God. He is not distant or unreachable, but nearer than your breath, more intimate than your thoughts. To give glory to God is to recognize this truth and live in harmony with His divine nature. God is the source of all manifestation. This profound truth speaks to the divine nature of creation and our relationship with the infinite power that resides within us. To understand this is to grasp the very essence of life itself, that nothing in existence comes to be without the will and presence of God. Every event, every form, and every experience originates from this divine source. It is not something external or distant, it is the very fabric of reality, ever present and ever creative. Consider the beauty of the natural world, the rising sun that brings warmth to the earth, the rivers that flow with life, and the trees that bear fruit in their season. These are not random occurrences, but deliberate expressions of the divine. They remind us that creation is not chaotic, but governed by an infinite intelligence. This intelligence is God, the source from which all things emerge. To see the world with such understanding is to acknowledge the divine hand at work in every detail, no matter how small. Human life, too, is a testament to this truth. The fact that you exist is itself a miracle of divine manifestation. From the intricate design of your body to the boundless potential of your mind, you are evidence of God's creative power. Your thoughts, desires, and aspirations are not random, they are seeds planted by the divine within your soul, urging you toward growth and fulfillment. Every time you act in alignment with these desires, you participate in the sacred act of creation, giving glory to the source of all that is. To recognize God as the source of all manifestation is to shift your perspective on life. It moves you from a mindset of lack to one of abundance. If God is infinite and all things flow from Him, then how could there ever be a shortage? Lack is an illusion born of misunderstanding. The truth is that all you could ever need or desire already exists in the infinite mind of God. It is simply waiting for you to align with it, to claim it as your own through faith and imagination. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between the spiritual and the physical. To have faith is to know that everything you desire is already provided for. It is not about pleading with God to give you something, for He has already given you all things. Faith is the quiet assurance that, as the source of all manifestation, God has set the stage for your success, happiness, and fulfillment. All that is required of you is to trust in His infinite wisdom and to act as though your desires are already fulfilled. Imagination plays a crucial role in this process. It is through imagination that the formless becomes form, that the unseen becomes seen. When you imagine a life of abundance, health, or joy, you are not merely daydreaming, you are engaging in the divine process of creation. Your imagination is a sacred tool, a direct link to the mind of God. It is through this faculty that He manifests His will in your life. Therefore, what you imagine consistently and with conviction becomes your reality. This is not magic, but the natural outworking of divine law. To fully embrace God as the source of all manifestation, you must also surrender your need for control. The ego often seeks to dictate how and when things should happen, but this is not your role. Your role is to trust, to align, and to allow. God's ways are higher than ours, His timing perfect. When you surrender your will to His, you open the door for miracles to unfold. What may seem impossible to your limited understanding is simple for the infinite intelligence of God. Every manifestation in your life is a reflection of your awareness of God's presence. If you focus on lack and limitation, that is what you will experience, not because God withholds, but because your awareness is misaligned. However, when you focus on abundance, gratitude, and the certainty that God is the source of all good, your life will overflow with blessings. It is not a question of whether God will provide it, it is a question of whether you will allow yourself to receive. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to align with this divine source. When you give thanks, you acknowledge that God is the giver of all good things. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, and in doing so, it opens the floodgates of abundance. It is an act of faith, a declaration that you trust in the goodness of God and the infinite supply that flows from Him. As you walk through life, remember that you are never separate from this divine source. God is not just the creator of the universe, but the very essence of your being. To live is to manifest, and to manifest is to glorify God. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take is an expression of His power working through you. You are both the creation and the Creator, a vessel through which God's glory is revealed. In recognizing God as the source of all manifestation, you step into a new way of being. You begin to see the world not as a place of struggle, but as a canvas for divine expression. Challenges become opportunities, desires become prayers, and life itself becomes a sacred dance with the infinite. When you live with this awareness, you glorify God in all that you do, and in return He manifests His glory through you. This is the divine cycle. The eternal truth God is the source, and you are His creation, ever unfolding in love and abundance. Is the key to unlock divine power, the bridge that connects the seen with the unseen, the material with the spiritual. It is not mere hope or wishful thinking, but a profound conviction that transcends circumstances and appearances. Faith is the quiet knowing, the inner certainty that what you desire already exists in the infinite mind of God and will manifest in your life according to divine timing and order. To cultivate faith is to access the limitless power of the Creator and to become a participant in the divine process of creation. To understand faith, one must first recognize its nature. Faith is not bound by logic or confined to what the physical senses perceive. It exists beyond reason, rooted in the spiritual realm where all possibilities reside. While the world may teach us to rely solely on what we can see and measure, faith requires us to trust in the unseen. It asks us to believe in what has not yet taken form, to see with the eyes of the Spirit rather than the eyes of the body. This is not an act of foolishness but one of divine wisdom, for everything that now exists first existed as an unseen reality. But faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the seed from which all manifestations grow. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not doubt that it will grow. You trust in the process of nature. Similarly, faith is the seed you plant in the fertile soil of your imagination and belief. You may not see the outcome immediately, but the seed begins to germinate the moment it is planted. It draws nourishment from your thoughts, emotions, and actions, eventually breaking through the surface to become a tangible reality. The power of faith lies in its ability to align you with the infinite intelligence of God. When you have faith, you are not trying to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. Instead, you are surrendering to the divine flow of life. Faith allows you to rest in the assurance that God's plans are perfect and that everything is unfolding as it should. This does not mean you remain passive. On the contrary, faith inspires action, but it is action taken from a place of trust, rather than fear or desperation. Faith is the antidote to doubt and fear, which are the greatest barriers to accessing divine power. Doubt questions whether your desires are possible, while fear imagines all the ways they could fail. Both stem from a limited understanding of God's nature and His infinite capacity to provide. Faith, however, knows that with God, all things are possible. It does not concern itself with how or when a desire will manifest, trusting instead that the infinite intelligence of God will orchestrate the perfect outcome. To cultivate faith, you must first align your thoughts with the truth of God's promises. This requires a shift in focus from what is lacking to what is possible. Instead of dwelling on what you do not have, fix your mind on the vision of your desires already fulfilled. Imagine the feeling of joy, gratitude, and peace that accompanies their realization. By doing so, you are not merely entertaining a pleasant fantasy, you are activating the creative power of faith. Your imagination, infused with faith, becomes a magnet that draws your desires from the unseen realm into physical reality. Also requires patience, for divine power operates on its own perfect timing. The modern world often demands instant results, but faith understands that true manifestation requires a process. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, so too does faith require time to bear fruit. Impatience can disrupt this process, leading to doubt and discouragement. However, when you trust in God's timing, you can rest in the assurance that your desires will come to pass at the right moment and in the right way. Gratitude is another essential element of faith. To give thanks before your desires have manifested is a powerful act of trust. It is an acknowledgement that what you have asked for is already given in the spiritual realm and is on its way to you. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, reinforcing your faith and aligning you with the divine flow of blessings. By expressing gratitude, you demonstrate that you believe in God's power and provision, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. Faith is not only a key to manifesting personal desires, but also a means of transforming your entire perspective on life. When you live in faith, you see challenges not as obstacles but as opportunities for growth and transformation. You recognize that every situation, no matter how difficult, carries within it the seeds of divine purpose. Faith enables you to face life's uncertainties with courage and confidence, knowing that God is always working for your highest good. Faith is a reflection of your relationship with God. It is the trust you place in His love, wisdom, and power. To have faith is to acknowledge that you are not alone, that you are supported by a force greater than yourself. It is the realization that God's power flows through you, making all things possible. When you live in faith, you become a co-creator with the divine, bringing forth the beauty and abundance of the spiritual realm into the physical world. Faith is not something you must struggle to attain. It is a gift already present within you. It grows as you nurture it, as you practice trusting in God and surrendering your fears. The more you exercise faith, the stronger it becomes, until it becomes the foundation of your life. And with faith as your foundation, there is nothing you cannot achieve, for you have unlocked the infinite power of God. God works through the power of your imagination, for it is through this sacred faculty that the unseen becomes seen, the formless takes form, and the divine expresses itself in your life. Imagination is not a trivial daydreaming tool, but the very gateway through which divine creation flows. It is the bridge between the infinite possibilities of the spiritual realm and the tangible experiences of the physical world. When you understand and embrace this truth, you unlock the key to co-creating with God, allowing His power to manifest in every area of your life. The imagination is a gift from God, a reflection of His creative power within you. Just as God imagined the universe into being, you too have been endowed with the ability to imagine and shape your reality. But every thought, every image, and every vision that arises within your mind carries the seed of potential. What you dwell upon in your imagination becomes the blueprint for your life. This is not merely a metaphor, but a spiritual law that governs the process of creation. When you engage your imagination, you are not simply thinking, you are creating. The images you hold in your mind, especially those accompanied by strong emotions, begin to influence the energy around you. These images are imprinted on the spiritual substance of the universe, which responds by aligning circumstances, events, and people to bring your vision into reality. It is through imagination that God works His miracles, shaping the invisible into the visible. Faith is the companion of imagination. To imagine something is to see it in your mind. To have faith is to know that it is already yours. Without faith, imagination remains a fleeting thought, a possibility that never materializes. But when you infuse your imagination with unwavering faith, you activate the divine power that turns your vision into reality. This is not an act of arrogance, but an acknowledgement of your divine inheritance. As a child of God, you are meant to create, to imagine, and to bring forth the desires that He has placed within your heart. It is important to recognize that God does not impose limits on your imagination. The only limits are those you impose upon yourself through doubt, fear, and a lack of belief in your own power. When you imagine freely and without constraint, you align yourself with the infinite nature of God. He works through your imagination to fulfill His divine purpose in your life, leading you toward growth, joy, and abundance. The key to using imagination as a tool for divine manifestation is clarity and focus. Vague or inconsistent images will produce vague or inconsistent results. To harness the full power of your imagination, you must be deliberate in the visions you create. Picture your desires as though they are already fulfilled. See yourself living the life you dream of, experiencing the joy, peace, and satisfaction that come with it. This mental rehearsal not only strengthens your faith, but also aligns your energy with the reality you wish to create. Emotion is another vital component. The images you hold in your imagination must be accompanied by the feeling of their reality. This is because emotion is the language of the soul, the signal that communicates your intentions to the divine. When you imagine something with strong emotion, be it gratitude, love, or excitement, you amplify the creative power of your vision. It is not enough to see, you must also feel, for it is the feeling that activates the divine power within you. One of the greatest barriers to using imagination effectively is the tendency to dwell on negative scenarios. Worry, fear, and doubt are forms of misused imagination. When you focus on what you do not want, you inadvertently attract those very things into your life. This is not because God desires negativity for you, but because the law of creation responds to your dominant thoughts and emotions. To counteract this, you must discipline your mind, choosing to imagine only those outcomes that align with God's promises of love, abundance, and peace. Imagination also plays a crucial role in overcoming challenges. When faced with difficulties, it is easy to become consumed by the problem, seeing only the obstacles in front of you. But through imagination, you can rise above your circumstances and envision a solution. In doing so, you invite divine guidance and inspiration to flow into your life. God often works through the images and ideas that arise in your mind, providing answers and opening doors that you may not have considered. Surrender is another essential aspect of this process. While you are a co-creator with God, the ultimate power of manifestation lies with Him. After imagining your desires and aligning your emotions with them, you must release your vision into His hands. Trust that He knows the perfect way to bring it to pass. This act of surrender is not a relinquishment of your power, but an acknowledgement of God's infinite wisdom and timing. Living with the awareness that God works through your imagination transforms your entire perspective on life. You begin to see yourself not as a passive observer, but as an active participant in the divine plan. Your imagination becomes a sacred space where you commune with God, where His power flows through you to create beauty, harmony, and abundance. Through imagination, you are reminded of your divine nature and your connection to the Creator. You are not separate from God, but an extension of His love and creativity. To imagine is to step into your role as a co-creator, to honor the divine spark within you. And as you use this gift wisely, you glorify God, bringing His kingdom to earth and fulfilling His purpose in your life. Surrendering your ego to the divine will is an act of profound transformation and liberation. It is the process of releasing the illusion of control and separateness and aligning yourself with the infinite wisdom and love of the Creator. The ego, while necessary for navigating the physical world, often becomes a barrier to spiritual growth when it dominates your thoughts, actions, and desires. It is the small self, rooted in fear, pride, and the need for validation. To surrender it is to step into the vastness of your true self, where the divine will flows unimpeded. The ego thrives on the illusion of individuality and self-reliance. It seeks to carve out its own path, often resisting the gentle guidance of the divine. This resistance creates tension, frustration, and a sense of disconnection from the source. The ego clings to its own plans and agendas, convinced that it knows what is best. Yet the divine will operates on a higher plane, orchestrating your life with a wisdom that far surpasses human understanding. To surrender your ego is to acknowledge that the plans of the Creator are not only greater but also infinitely more aligned with your highest good. Surrendering the ego does not mean losing your sense of self or becoming passive in life. Instead, it is the realization that your true identity is not confined to the ego's narrow perspective. You are not merely a body or a personality, but a divine being, intricately connected to the infinite. When you release the ego's grip, you open yourself to the flow of divine guidance, creativity, and love. You allow the higher self, the part of you that is one with God, to take the lead, transforming every aspect of your life. One of the challenges in surrendering the ego is its deep attachment to outcomes. The ego thrives on goals, achievements, and the validation that comes from external success. It measures worth by what has been accumulated, achieved, or recognized. While striving for success is not inherently wrong, the ego's attachment to these things often leads to a sense of incompleteness and dissatisfaction. True surrender involves letting go of the need to control outcomes and trusting that the divine will is unfolding perfectly, even when it does not align with your immediate desires or expectations. This surrender is not a one-time event, but a daily practice. It requires vigilance and humility, a willingness to recognize when the ego is asserting itself and gently redirecting your focus to the divine. Prayer, meditation, and moments of quiet reflection are powerful tools for this practice. In these sacred moments, you align your heart and mind with the will of God, seeking His guidance and releasing your attachment to ego-driven desires. Through this process, you begin to experience the peace that comes from trusting in a higher power. The ego often resists surrender because it fears losing its identity and control. It perceives surrender as weakness or defeat, but in truth it is the ultimate strength. Surrender requires the courage to let go of your limited perspective and embrace the infinite possibilities of divine wisdom. It is an act of trust, a declaration of faith in the Creator's love and provision. When you surrender, you are not giving up, you are stepping into a greater partnership with God, allowing Him to work through you in ways that exceed your imagination. The rewards of surrender are profound. When you release the ego, you free yourself from the burdens of fear, pride, and the need for constant validation. You no longer feel the pressure to prove yourself or to control every aspect of your life. Instead, you move with the flow of divine grace, experiencing a sense of ease and alignment. Challenges become opportunities for growth, and even setbacks are seen as part of a larger, divinely orchestrated plan. This perspective brings peace, joy, and a deep sense of fulfillment. Surrendering the ego also opens the door to greater love and connection. The ego often fosters separation, creating barriers between you and others through judgment, comparison, and competition. When you surrender these tendencies, you begin to see others through the eyes of the divine as reflections of the same infinite love that flows through you. This shift in perspective deepens your relationships, allowing you to love and serve without the need for recognition or reward. To surrender your ego to the divine will is to live in alignment with your true purpose. It is a return to the natural state of unity with God, where your desires and actions are guided by love, wisdom, and truth. This surrender does not mean abandoning your dreams or aspirations, but rather offering them to God, trusting that He will refine and fulfill them in the best possible way. In this partnership, you become a vessel for divine expression, creating a life that is not only successful by worldly standards, but also deeply meaningful and spiritually rich. The journey of surrender is not without its challenges. The ego will resist, clinging to its illusions of control and identity. But with each act of surrender, you strengthen your connection to the divine, experiencing the freedom and joy that come from living in alignment with God's will. This is the path of true liberation, where the burdens of the ego are replaced by the lightness of divine grace. As you walk this path, you come to realize that surrender is not the loss of self, but the discovery of your true self, the self that is one with the Creator, limitless and eternal. To recognize the divine in all things is to awaken to the profound truth that God is present everywhere and in everything. It is an invitation to see beyond the surface of life, to perceive the sacred essence that pervades all creation. This awareness transforms how you experience the world, shifting your perspective from separation to unity, from scarcity to abundance, and from fear to love. Recognizing the divine in all things is not merely a philosophical concept. It is a way of living that opens your heart to the infinite beauty, wisdom, and power of the Creator. The divine is not confined to grand spiritual experiences or holy places. It is present in the ordinary moments, the quiet spaces, and even the challenges you face. Every leaf, every drop of rain, and every encounter with another person is imbued with the essence of God. To recognize this is to step into a state of reverence and gratitude, acknowledging the sacredness of all that exists. When you see the divine in all things, life itself becomes a prayer, a celebration of the Creator's infinite love and creativity. This recognition begins with a shift in perception. It requires you to move beyond the superficial and look deeper into the nature of reality. The world, as perceived through the physical senses, often seems fragmented and chaotic. But when you look with the eyes of the Spirit, you see the underlying unity that connects all things. This unity is the presence of God, the source from which all creation flows. It is the same power that animates the stars in the sky, the flowers in the field, and the breath within your lungs. To recognize the divine in all things also means acknowledging that nothing is outside the reach of God's presence. Even in situations that seem difficult or painful, there is an opportunity to find the sacred. These moments challenge you to look beyond appearances and trust in the perfection of the divine plan. They remind you that growth often arises from struggle, and that God's presence is most profoundly felt when you turn inward and seek His guidance. Through this perspective, you learn to embrace life's complexities with faith and acceptance. Seeing the divine in others is a powerful practice that deepens your connection to God and humanity. Each person you encounter is a reflection of the Creator, carrying within them the spark of the divine. This truth remains, regardless of outward appearances or behavior. When you recognize this spark, you move beyond judgment and separation, allowing compassion and love to guide your interactions. You begin to see others not as competitors or strangers, but as fellow travelers on the journey of life, each uniquely expressing the infinite creativity of God. Recognizing the divine in all things also cultivates a sense of awe and wonder. It awakens you to the miracle of existence, the intricate balance and harmony that sustain life. This awareness invites you to approach the world with curiosity and humility, appreciating the vastness of God's creation. Whether it is the majesty of a mountain range, the delicate intricacy of a spider's web, or the quiet stillness of a sunrise, each moment becomes an opportunity to witness the divine at work. This sense of wonder nourishes your soul and strengthens your connection to the Creator. Gratitude naturally flows from recognizing the divine in all things. When you see God's presence everywhere, you realize that life is a gift filled with countless blessings. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, aligning you with the flow of divine grace. It opens your heart and mind, creating space for even greater blessings to manifest. Gratitude is not merely an emotion, but a state of being that allows you to walk through life with joy and contentment, trusting in the Creator's provision. This recognition also calls you to live in harmony with creation. When you see the divine in all things, you understand that the earth and its resources are sacred, entrusted to your care. You are moved to treat the natural world with respect and stewardship, knowing that your actions impact not only the environment, but also your relationship with God. Living in harmony with creation is an act of worship, a way of honoring the Creator by cherishing the work of His hands. To cultivate this awareness, you must quiet the noise of the ego and the distractions of the world. Practices such as meditation, prayer, and mindfulness help you attune to the divine presence. They allow you to move beyond the surface of life and connect with the deeper reality that underlies all things. These practices are not about escaping the world, but about engaging with it more fully, seeing it through the lens of the divine. As you grow in your ability to recognize the divine in all things, you begin to experience a profound sense of unity and purpose. You see yourself as part of a greater whole, connected to all of creation and to the Creator. This awareness brings peace, as you realize that you are never alone, never separate from God's love and guidance. It also inspires you to live with intention, knowing that your thoughts, words, and actions are expressions of the divine presence within you. Recognizing the divine in all things is a journey, one that deepens and expands over time. It is a practice of remembering who you are, a child of God, intricately connected to His creation. As you walk this path, you transform not only your own life, but also the world around you, radiating the light of the divine wherever you go. Through this awareness, you become a vessel for God's love and a witness to His glory, embracing the sacredness of all that is. Gratitude is one of the most profound spiritual practices, a gateway to aligning yourself with the infinite abundance and love of the Creator. It is not merely an emotion, but a state of being, a way of perceiving the world that magnifies the divine blessings in your life. When you cultivate gratitude, you open the door to an ever-increasing flow of goodness, for gratitude is the language of the soul that recognizes and honors the hand of God in all things. At its core, gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is present. It transforms your perception, allowing you to see the divine gifts already surrounding you. Whether it is the warmth of the sun, the breath that sustains you, or the love of those around you, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude awakens you to the miracle of existence, the intricate web of blessings that sustain and nourish your life. This awareness brings a profound sense of joy and contentment, for you realize that even in the smallest details, the Creator is present. Gratitude is a powerful amplifier of blessings because it aligns you with the divine flow. It is an expression of faith and trust, a declaration that you recognize and appreciate the goodness in your life. This recognition creates a vibrational match with the frequency of abundance, drawing more of the same into your experience. The law of divine manifestation is simple: what you focus on expands. By focusing on gratitude, you invite more blessings, for the universe responds to the energy you emit. In this way, gratitude becomes a magnet for miracles, a key that unlocks the storehouse of divine treasures. When you express gratitude, you acknowledge the source of all blessings, God. You honor His presence and provision, recognizing that everything good in your life flows from His infinite love and grace. This acknowledgement deepens your relationship with the Creator, strengthening the bond of trust and intimacy. Gratitude is a form of worship, a way of saying, I see you, I feel you, and I thank you. It is an act of humility that places you in alignment with the divine will, allowing you to receive with an open and joyful heart. Gratitude also transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. Life is not without its trials, but even in the midst of difficulty, there is always a reason to be grateful. Every challenge carries within it a lesson, a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Gratitude allows you to see these hidden gifts, to trust that even in hardship, the Creator is working for your highest good. When you give thanks in all circumstances, you affirm your faith in God's plan, knowing that His wisdom far exceeds your understanding. This perspective brings peace and resilience, enabling you to navigate life's storms with grace. Practicing gratitude is not about denying pain or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to focus on the light, even when surrounded by darkness. It is the act of finding beauty in the ordinary, hope in the midst of despair, and joy in the simple moments. Gratitude does not erase difficulties but transforms your relationship with them, allowing you to see them as part of a greater tapestry woven by divine hands. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is its ability to deepen your connection with others. When you express gratitude for the people in your life, you strengthen the bonds of love and appreciation. You recognize the divine in them, honoring their presence and the ways they contribute to your journey. Gratitude fosters kindness, empathy, and understanding, creating a ripple effect that spreads positivity and healing. As you give thanks for others, you uplift not only your spirit but also theirs, creating a shared experience of divine love. Gratitude is also a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Fear thrives on the illusion of insufficiency, the belief that there is not enough to go around. Gratitude dispels this illusion by reminding you of the Creator's infinite provision. It anchors you in the present moment, where all your needs are met, and assures you that the same divine power that has sustained you will continue to do so. Cultivating gratitude requires practice and intentionality. It is not something that always comes naturally, especially in moments of struggle. Yet, the more you practice, the more it becomes a part of who you are. Begin by taking a few moments each day to reflect on the blessings in your life. Write them down, speak them aloud, or simply hold them in your heart. As you do, notice how your perspective shifts, how your spirit lightens, and how your connection to the divine deepens. Gratitude also grows when shared. Take time to express your thanks to others, to acknowledge the ways they have touched your life. Speak words of appreciation, offer acts of kindness, and let them know that they are valued. In doing so, you not only amplify your own blessings but also become a blessing to others, a channel through which divine love flows. As you walk the path of gratitude, you will discover that blessings are not something you must seek, they are already present, waiting to be recognized. The act of giving thanks reveals the abundance that has always been yours, hidden in plain sight. Gratitude opens your eyes to the divine beauty of life, the intricate ways in which the Creator provides, guides, and sustains. It is a reminder that you are deeply loved, profoundly cared for, and forever connected to the infinite source of all good. In gratitude, you find the key to living a life of fullness, peace, and joy. It is the bridge that connects you to the Creator, the lens through which you see His hand in every moment. Through gratitude, you magnify the blessings already given and prepare your heart to receive even more. It is a simple yet powerful practice, a sacred dialogue between you and God that transforms your life from the inside out. To speak and act as God's vessel is to align yourself fully with the divine purpose, becoming a channel through which His love, wisdom, and power flow into the world. It is a conscious choice to surrender your ego and allow your words and actions to reflect the divine will. This is not an act of self-erasure, but of self-realization, a recognition that your truest identity is as a child of God, created to bring His light into the world. When you embrace this truth, you transform not only your life but also the lives of those around you. Being God's vessel begins with awareness. You must first understand that the divine dwells within you, that you are not separate from God but a living expression of His presence. This realization shifts how you perceive yourself and your role in the world. You are not here to merely exist or pursue personal gain. You are here to serve as a conduit for God's grace. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take carries the potential to reflect the Creator's love and wisdom. To speak as God's vessel requires a deep sense of responsibility. Words are powerful. They create, they heal, and they inspire. When you speak with intention and alignment to the divine, your words carry the energy of truth and love. They become instruments of transformation, touching the hearts of others and uplifting their spirits. This is not about preaching or imposing beliefs. It is about speaking from a place of authenticity and compassion, allowing the divine wisdom within you to guide your expression. Every kind word, every moment of encouragement, and every act of truth-telling becomes a testament to God's presence in you. Equally important is acting as God's vessel. Your actions are the tangible expressions of your inner alignment with the divine. When you act with integrity, kindness, and humility, you embody the qualities of the Creator. You become a living example of divine love, showing others what it means to walk in faith and grace. This does not mean you must be perfect. Perfection is not required, only a sincere desire to align your actions with God's will. Even small acts of kindness, performed with genuine love, have the power to create ripples of positivity that extend far beyond what you can see. To live as God's vessel, you must cultivate a connection to Him through prayer, meditation, and reflection. These practices quiet the noise of the world and the ego, allowing you to hear the still, small voice of the divine within. In these moments of communion, you receive guidance and inspiration, clarifying how you are meant to serve. This guidance often comes not as a booming declaration, but as a gentle nudge, a sense of knowing that directs your steps. Trusting this inner wisdom is key to acting as a faithful vessel of God's will. Being a vessel of God's love and light does not mean you will avoid challenges or hardships. In fact, these moments often serve to deepen your reliance on the divine and refine your ability to act in alignment with His will. Trials teach you patience, resilience, and compassion, qualities that strengthen your capacity to serve. They also remind you that you are not acting alone. God is always with you, empowering and sustaining you as you fulfill your purpose. Living as God's vessel also means practicing humility. It is not about seeking recognition or validation for your actions, but about serving with a pure heart. Humility allows you to let go of the need for control, trusting that God's plan is greater than anything you could conceive. It also frees you from the burden of seeking approval, allowing you to focus solely on the work you are called to do. True humility is not about diminishing yourself, it is about recognizing that your power and purpose come from God. As you speak and act as God's vessel, you begin to experience the profound joy and peace that come from living in alignment with the divine. You see the impact of your words and actions, not in terms of worldly success, but in the lives you touch and the love you share. You realize that your life has meaning beyond measure, a sacred role in the unfolding of God's plan. This awareness fills you with gratitude and inspires you to continue walking this path, no matter the challenges. To speak and act as God's vessel is to live with intention, love, and faith. It is to wake each day with the prayer, "Let me be an instrument of your will." It is to see every interaction, every opportunity, and every moment as a chance to bring light into the world. This way of living is not reserved for saints or mystics. It is available to all who choose to align themselves with the divine. In this choice, you discover the true purpose of your life to be a vessel through which God's love and grace flow freely, blessing the world and glorifying His name. God's glory is your inheritance, a divine gift that was bestowed upon you from the moment of your creation. It is not something you must earn, nor is it a reward reserved for the few. It is your birthright as a child of God, a treasure embedded within your very being. To understand and embrace this truth is to awaken to the magnificence of your identity and the boundless potential that resides within you. The concept of inheritance suggests something passed down, something that has always belonged to you by virtue of your relationship with the giver. In this case, the giver is God, the creator of all that exists. He has endowed you with His essence, His light, and His glory. This inheritance is not material wealth, but a spiritual abundance that transcends the physical. It is the power to create, to love, to forgive, and to manifest the highest good in your life and in the lives of others. To claim your inheritance is to step into your divine power. It is to acknowledge that you are co-creator with God, endowed with the ability to shape your reality through your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. This power is not born of arrogance, but of humility, for it comes from the recognition that your strength lies in your connection to the source. When you align yourself with God's will, you tap into the unlimited potential of His glory, allowing it to flow through you and manifest in every aspect of your life. Your inheritance is also a call to responsibility. To carry God's glory is to bear witness to His love and grace. It is to be a light in the world, reflecting His goodness through your words and actions. This does not mean striving for perfection, for God does not require flawlessness. It means living authentically, allowing His glory to shine through your humanity. Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, and every expression of gratitude becomes a testament to the divine inheritance you carry. God's glory is not something to be hoarded or hidden. It is meant to be shared, to flow through you and touch the lives of others. When you embrace your inheritance, you become a vessel of blessing, a channel through which God's love and power reach the world. This is the essence of living a life of purpose, using your gifts, talents, and resources to serve others and glorify God. In doing so, you fulfill the divine intention for your existence, aligning yourself with the higher plan that governs all things. One of the most profound aspects of your inheritance is the peace that comes with it. God's glory is a source of reassurance, a reminder that you are never alone or forsaken. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what challenges you face, the Creator is with you, working all things for your good. This peace surpasses understanding, for it is not dependent on external circumstances. It is rooted in the eternal truth of your relationship with God, a truth that remains unshaken by the storms of life. To live in the fullness of your inheritance is to let go of fear and limitation. It is to release the false beliefs that tell you you are unworthy, incapable, or separate from God. These illusions only serve to obscure the glory that is already yours. When you surrender these lies and embrace the truth of your divine identity, you step into a freedom that cannot be taken away. You begin to live from a place of abundance, joy, and confidence, knowing that nothing can diminish the glory within you. Gratitude is a key to unlocking the awareness of your inheritance. When you give thanks for the blessings in your life, you align yourself with the frequency of God's glory. Gratitude amplifies your connection to the divine, allowing you to see and experience more of the goodness that surrounds you. It is a practice that transforms your perspective, enabling you to recognize the hand of God in every moment and to celebrate the magnificence of your inheritance. Your inheritance is a reflection of God's love for you. It is a reminder that you are cherished, valued, and deeply connected to the source of all life. To embrace this inheritance is to honor the Creator and to live in alignment with His purpose for you. It is to walk in the light of His glory, radiating His love to the world and fulfilling the divine potential within you. This is your birthright, your gift, and your calling to live as a child of God, bearing His glory and sharing it with all. In conclusion, the essence of all these truths is that your connection to the divine is unwavering and eternal. God's glory is not just a distant ideal, but a living reality within you, shaping your life, your thoughts, and your purpose. When you recognize yourself as God's vessel, embrace gratitude, and surrender to His will, you unlock the infinite power of the divine that resides in your very being. Your faith becomes the foundation for a life that reflects His love, abundance, and peace. Remember, this journey is not about striving for perfection, but about aligning with the truth of who you are, God's creation, blessed and deeply loved. Each step you take in faith, each act of kindness, and each moment of surrender draws you closer to living as the divine intended. Walk forward with courage, knowing that His light shines through you and His power moves with you. Thank you for taking this journey of reflection and exploration. May you carry these truths in your heart, allowing them to guide and inspire you. May your life be a testimony to God's glory and a blessing to all those you encounter. Thank you, and may divine peace and love accompany you always. When faced with life's decisions, challenges, or triumphs, we often look outward for guidance, seeking advice, validation, or solutions from others. Yet the true source of wisdom, the eternal power that shapes all circumstances, is not found outside of us. It resides within, in the divine spark that is God. The idea that God dwells within you is one of the most profound truths you can embrace. It is a concept that transcends religious doctrine and philosophical debate, touching the very core of human existence. To truly understand this truth is to awaken to the immense power and potential that lies dormant within you. It is the key to transforming your life from one of limitation and struggle to one of boundless creativity and fulfillment. Many of us are conditioned to think of God as a being outside of ourselves, distant, detached, and perhaps even unapproachable. We search for signs and miracles in the external world, hoping for divine intervention to solve our problems. Yet, this view places separation between ourselves and the very source of life. To believe that God is external is to deny the intimate connection that exists between you and the divine. It is to overlook the reality that the power of God is not somewhere out there, but is present within you, here and now. So, to understand that God dwells within you is to recognize your own consciousness as sacred. Your thoughts, feelings, and imagination are not merely private experiences, but the creative expressions of divine power. The same force that created the universe resides within you, not as a distant observer, but as the very essence of your being. When you imagine, dream, and believe, you are not acting independently of God, but in perfect harmony with this indwelling presence. This realization requires a shift in perception. It calls for you to stop looking outward for solutions and instead turn inward, to the sanctuary of your own mind. Within you lies infinite wisdom, love, and power. But this divine presence will not impose itself upon you. It waits patiently for your recognition, for your willingness to believe in its reality. The moment you acknowledge that God dwells within you, you open the door to a new way of living. Your imagination is the doorway through which the divine operates. Consider this: every innovation, every masterpiece, and every great achievement began as a thought, a vision held in the mind of someone who dared to believe it was possible. This is the power of God within, working through the human imagination to bring forth new realities. When you imagine yourself as healthy, prosperous, or joyful, you are not engaging in mere fantasy. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of God, which seeks to manifest your highest good. But this truth is not just for moments of inspiration and creativity. It is equally important in times of challenge and despair. When life feels overwhelming, and the weight of your circumstances threatens to crush your spirit, remember that you are not alone. The same power that created the stars and the oceans dwells within you, ready to guide, support, and uplift you. In moments of stillness, when you quiet the noise of fear and doubt, you can feel this presence. It may come as a sense of peace, a flash of insight, or a renewed strength to keep moving forward. The indwelling presence of God also means that you are never powerless. No matter how dire your circumstances may seem, you have the ability to change them. This is not to suggest that life will always be easy or that challenges will disappear overnight. But when you understand that God dwells within you, you approach difficulties with a different mindset. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of external forces, you recognize that you have the power to reshape your reality from the inside out. This truth also invites you to see others in a new light. If God dwells within you, then surely this same divine presence dwells within everyone you meet. This awareness fosters compassion, understanding, and a sense of unity. So you begin to see beyond superficial differences and recognize the shared divinity that connects all of humanity. This does not mean you will agree with everyone or condone harmful behavior. But it does mean that you can approach life with an open heart, knowing that we are all expressions of the same divine source. The idea that God dwells within you is not just a comforting thought, it is a call to action. It challenges you to live with intention, to choose your thoughts and beliefs carefully, and to take responsibility for the reality you create. It encourages you to trust in your inner guidance, even when the external world offers no guarantees. It reminds you that you are not separate from the divine, but an integral part of it, a co-creator in the unfolding of life. To live with the awareness that God dwells within you is to live with a sense of empowerment and peace. It is to know that you are never truly alone, never without hope, and never without the ability to create change. It is to understand that your life, in all its complexity and beauty, is a sacred expression of divine love. When you embrace this truth, you begin to see the world differently. Challenges become opportunities for growth, and ordinary moments take on extraordinary meaning. So the next time you feel lost or uncertain, remember this: the answers you seek are not out there but within. The power to heal, to create, and to thrive is already yours because God dwells within you. Trust this truth, live it, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. When you close your eyes and imagine, you are engaging with a realm that exists beyond the physical. What appears to be intangible is, in fact, the seed of every tangible experience. Consider the world around you. Every building, every invention, every piece of art began as a thought in someone's mind. What now stands as a reality was once nothing more than an imagined possibility. This is the power of imagination at work, shaping the external world from within. Imagination is the bridge between the spiritual and the material. It is through this faculty that you bring forth the desires of your heart into manifestation. When you visualize a future filled with love, success, or abundance, you are not indulging in mere wishful thinking. You are planting seeds in the fertile ground of consciousness, seeds that will grow and bear fruit when nurtured with belief and focus. The key to unlocking the power of imagination lies in your ability to assume the reality of what you desire. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something untrue. It is about embodying the feeling of your wish fulfilled, allowing your mind to dwell in the state of already having what you seek. When you imagine vividly, engaging all your senses and emotions, you align your inner world with the reality you wish to experience. This process requires faith and persistence. The physical world may not immediately reflect the changes you create in your imagination, but that does not mean they are not taking root. Just as a seed takes time to grow beneath the soil before it breaks through the surface, the seeds of your imagination require patience and care. Trust that the unseen forces of creation are at work, rearranging circumstances and events to bring your vision to life. Imagination is also the doorway to freedom. It allows you to rise above the limitations of your current circumstances, to see beyond what is and into what could be. When you feel trapped by challenges or constrained by the opinions of others, your imagination offers an escape. It empowers you to envision a better future, a reality where obstacles are overcome and dreams are realized. By focusing on this vision, you begin to draw it into your experience, even when the outer world seems unchanged. Imagination is not limited to creating grand dreams or future achievements. It is also a powerful tool for transforming your present experience. At any moment, you can choose to see your current reality differently, to imagine it infused with purpose and meaning. This shift in perception alters your emotional state and opens the door to new opportunities. When you imagine the best in yourself and others, you elevate your vibration and attract circumstances that resonate with this higher perspective. One of the most profound truths about imagination is that it is unlimited. Unlike the physical world, where resources and opportunities can appear scarce, imagination knows no bounds. You can envision a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment without constraint. This freedom is a reflection of your true nature as a creative being, endowed with the ability to shape your reality through thought and intention. Yet, this power must be used consciously. Imagination does not discriminate between positive and negative creations. If you dwell on fear, doubt, or limitation, you will find these reflected in your experience. To harness the true potential of imagination, you must discipline your mind to focus on what you desire rather than what you fear. This requires awareness and practice, but the rewards are immeasurable. Imagination is also deeply personal. No one else can see the visions that arise within you or feel the emotions they evoke. This makes your imagination a sacred space, a private sanctuary where you can connect with your highest self and explore the infinite possibilities of existence. Honor this space and use it wisely. Let your imagination be a source of inspiration, guidance, and empowerment. Imagination is a gift, a reflection of the divine presence within you. It is through this gift that you participate in the ongoing act of creation, shaping your world and experiences according to the vision you hold in your heart. Embrace this truth and let your imagination lead you through the doorway to a life of boundless possibility and profound fulfillment. In a world that often pulls our attention outward, it is easy to lose touch with this inner harmony. We become consumed by societal expectations, external pressures, and the relentless pursuit of goals, often at the expense of our mental and emotional well-being. Yet the truth is that no amount of external success can compensate for inner chaos. Without alignment, even the most significant achievements feel hollow, and the constant striving leaves us exhausted and unfulfilled. Once you identify these areas, the next step is to gently realign. This is not about forcing change or trying to control every aspect of your life. Instead, it is about cultivating a state of inner harmony that naturally guides your decisions and actions. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through the practice of mindfulness. By becoming present and fully engaging with the moment, you can quiet the noise of doubt and distraction, allowing your inner guidance to emerge. Inner alignment also requires emotional balance. Your emotions are a powerful indicator of whether you are in harmony with your true self. Feelings of joy, peace, and contentment signal alignment, while persistent stress, frustration, or dissatisfaction often point to areas of disconnection. This does not mean you must avoid or suppress negative emotions. Instead, it invites you to explore them with curiosity and compassion. When you honor your emotions as messengers, they can help you understand what needs to shift within you. Another essential aspect of inner alignment is trusting your intuition. Your intuition is the voice of your higher self, guiding you toward what is best for you. However, in a world that values logic and external validation, it can be easy to dismiss this inner voice. To prioritize alignment, you must learn to trust your intuition, even when it defies conventional wisdom. This trust grows stronger with practice, as you begin to see how following your inner guidance leads to greater clarity and fulfillment. Inner alignment also calls for letting go of what no longer serves you. This includes outdated beliefs, unhealthy habits, and relationships that drain your energy or distract you from your purpose. Letting go can be challenging, as it often involves stepping into the unknown. Yet it is through this process of release that you create space for new opportunities and experiences that align with your true self. Trust that by releasing what is not meant for you, you are making room for something greater. To prioritize inner alignment, it is also important to cultivate practices that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Meditation, journaling, and spending time in nature are powerful ways to reconnect with your inner self. These practices create a space for stillness and reflection, allowing you to tune into the whispers of your soul. As you make these practices a part of your daily life, you will find that alignment becomes less of a fleeting state and more of a natural way of being. Inner alignment is not a destination but a journey. It is an ongoing process of tuning in, adjusting, and realigning as you grow and evolve. There will be moments when you feel completely aligned and others when you feel off balance. This is natural and to be expected. The key is to approach this journey with patience and self-compassion, knowing that every step brings you closer to living in harmony with your true self. Faith over fear is a principle that calls us to trust in the unseen, to believe in possibilities beyond what our limited perception can grasp, and to stand firm in the face of uncertainty. It is a call to shift our focus from what could go wrong to what can be made right through belief and trust in a higher power or purpose. Faith and fear cannot coexist, one must give way to the other. When you choose faith, you unlock a wellspring of strength, clarity, and resilience that enables you to transcend life's challenges and embrace its opportunities. Fear often arises when we face the unknown. It whispers doubts, magnifies obstacles, and convinces us to shrink away from the vastness of possibility. It roots itself in the illusion of separation from others, from our higher selves, and from the infinite source of love and support that surrounds us. Fear thrives on a scarcity mindset, leading us to believe that we lack the resources, abilities, or courage to navigate what lies ahead. On the other hand, is expansive. It reminds us that we are never alone, that we are connected to an infinite source of wisdom and strength that guides us when we choose to listen. Faith is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that fears do not exist. Rather, It is about seeing those fears through a lens of trust. It allows us to acknowledge fear without being consumed by it, to recognize uncertainty without letting it paralyze us. Faith invites us to move forward, even when the path is unclear, trusting that each step will reveal the way. Choosing faith over fear is an act of courage, but it is also an act of surrender. This surrender is not about giving up, but about releasing the need to control every outcome. It is about letting go of the fear-based narrative that says we must struggle and strive to earn our worth or secure our future. Faith reminds us that we are already enough, that the universe is conspiring in our favor, and that what is meant for us cannot be taken away. When fear takes hold, it is often because we are focusing too much on external circumstances, on what appears to be happening around us. We look at the storm instead of the calm within. Faith shifts our focus inward, grounding us in the knowledge that our inner world creates our outer reality. When we align with faith, we tap into a power greater than any obstacle, a power that transforms challenges into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. Faith also requires imagination. It asks us to envision a reality beyond what we can see, to believe in the unseen as though it were already visible. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism, but about embracing the truth that our thoughts and beliefs shape our experience. When you hold faith, you are declaring that your vision for the future is stronger than your fear of the unknown. You are affirming that possibilities are endless and that miracles can unfold in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Fear often tells us to play small, to avoid risks, and to stay within the confines of the familiar. It convinces us that safety lies in maintaining the status quo. But faith calls us to step boldly into the unknown, to trust that growth and transformation require us to leave our comfort zones. It is through these leaps of faith that we discover our strength, our purpose, and the limitless potential within us. Faith is not a one-time decision but a practice. It is something we must cultivate daily, especially when life feels uncertain or overwhelming. This practice can take many forms: quiet moments of reflection, affirmations that reinforce trust, or actions that align with our highest intentions, even when fear tempts us to do otherwise. Each time we choose faith over fear, we strengthen our ability to do so again, building a foundation of trust that carries us through life's storms. It is important to recognize that fear is not the enemy. Fear is a natural response to perceived danger, a signal that something within us seeks attention or healing. By approaching fear with compassion rather than resistance, we can uncover its underlying message and transform it into a stepping stone toward faith. When we face fear with faith, we do not deny its existence. Instead, we allow faith to guide us through it, revealing the strength and resilience that were always within us. Faith over fear is not about denying the difficulties of life or ignoring the challenges we face. It is about choosing to see those challenges as opportunities for growth and transformation. It is about trusting that every experience, no matter how daunting, carries the potential for greater wisdom, love, and connection. Faith assures us that even in the darkest moments, we are being guided toward our highest good. Faith over fear is a choice to trust in the unseen, to believe in the power of possibility, and to align with the truth of who we are. It is a declaration that love, not fear, will guide our decisions and shape our reality. By choosing faith, we step into our power as creators of our experience, embracing a life of courage, joy, and limitless potential. In faith, we find the strength to face anything, knowing that we are supported, guided, and never alone. When trouble surrounds you, and the weight of the world feels unbearable, the greatest refuge lies not in the external world, but within yourself. Turning within during times of trouble is an act of profound wisdom and courage. It is a recognition that the solutions to life's challenges are not found in the chaos of the external, but in the stillness of your inner being. Within you lies an infinite reservoir of strength, wisdom, and peace, waiting to be accessed when you dare to look inward. The external world often feels overwhelming because it is ever-changing and unpredictable. When difficulties arise, our first instinct is usually to seek external remedies, whether by solving problems through action, seeking advice, or trying to control circumstances. While these approaches have their place, they are often ineffective if they stem from a place of fear, confusion, or desperation. The external world is a reflection of your internal state, and if your inner world is in disarray, no amount of external effort will bring true resolution. Turning within begins with stillness. In the midst of turmoil, it may feel counterintuitive to pause and sit quietly with yourself. Yet, this is where the power lies. In stillness, you disengage from the noise of the outer world and the constant chatter of your mind. You create space to connect with the deeper part of yourself, the part that is untouched by external circumstances, the part that knows only peace. This inner stillness is not about ignoring your problems, but about shifting your focus to the place within you that holds the answers. As you turn inward, you may encounter resistance. Your mind may race with worries, doubts, and fears, insisting that you must act immediately or that there is no time for reflection. Acknowledge these thoughts without judgment, but do not let them pull you away from your inner sanctuary. The act of turning within requires trust that the stillness within you is more powerful than the storm around you. It is in this trust that transformation begins. Inward reflection allows you to gain clarity. When you turn within, you step back from the whirlwind of emotions and reactions that often accompany trouble. You observe your thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them. This perspective helps you see your situation more clearly and objectively. What once felt overwhelming begins to lose its grip as you realize that you are not your thoughts, your fears, or your circumstances. You are the observer of these experiences, and as the observer, you have the power to choose how to respond. Turning within also connects you to your inner wisdom. This wisdom is not something you must acquire, it is already within you, waiting to be heard. However, it often speaks in whispers, drowned out by the noise of external distractions and internal turmoil. By creating space for stillness and reflection, you allow this wisdom to emerge. It may come as a sense of knowing, an intuitive insight, or a gentle nudge toward a specific action. Trust what arises, for this inner guidance is aligned with your highest good. Another profound benefit of turning within is the connection to peace. In times of trouble, peace may feel like an impossible dream, but it is closer than you think. Peace is not something you must seek outside yourself. It is a natural state that arises when you let go of resistance and surrender to the present moment. Turning within helps you reconnect with this peace, reminding you that no matter what is happening around you, there is a place of calm and stability within you that cannot be shaken. Turning within also fosters resilience. When you face challenges from a place of inner alignment, you are better equipped to navigate them with strength and grace. You are not reacting out of fear or desperation, but responding with clarity and purpose. This resilience allows you to face difficulties with courage, knowing that you have the inner resources to overcome them. The act of turning within is not about escaping reality or avoiding responsibility. It is about grounding yourself in the truth of who you are, so that you can face reality from a place of empowerment. It is about realizing that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state, and that by changing your inner state, you can influence your external reality. Turning within is not a retreat, but a return to the source of your strength, wisdom, and peace. In times of trouble, turning within may seem like a small and simple act, yet it has the power to transform your experience. It reminds you that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a creator of your reality. It empowers you to face challenges with courage and clarity, knowing that you are guided by a deeper wisdom. Most importantly, it reconnects you with the truth that no matter what happens, you are whole, complete, and unshakable at your core. The next time trouble arises, resist the urge to seek solutions solely in the external world. Instead, take a moment to turn within. Sit quietly with yourself, breathe deeply, and allow the stillness to envelop you. Trust that within this stillness lies everything you need: guidance, clarity, strength, and peace. By turning within, you align yourself with the infinite power of your true self, transforming not only how you face challenges, but how you live your life. In the rush of daily life, we are often driven by external forces, deadlines, expectations, and distractions that pull us in countless directions. This constant motion creates a sense of disconnection, both from ourselves and from the deeper truths that guide our existence. Stillness is the antidote to this disconnection. It is a return to the present moment, a reconnection with the self, and a reminder that everything we seek outside of us already exists within. The power of stillness lies in its ability to anchor us amidst chaos. When life feels overwhelming, it is tempting to believe that the solution lies in doing more, in pushing harder, or in solving problems through sheer effort. But often, this only adds to the turmoil. Stillness, by contrast, invites you to pause and listen. It teaches you that sometimes the most profound answers emerge not from doing but from being. In stillness, you create space for insight to arise naturally, without forcing or striving. It also deepens your connection with the present moment. So much of our anxiety and stress comes from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Stillness brings you back to the here and now, where life is actually happening. In this moment, you can find peace, even amidst uncertainty. In this moment, you can hear the whispers of your intuition, guiding you toward what truly matters. You come to realize that you are not defined by your circumstances, your thoughts, or your emotions. You are the observer, the awareness behind it all. This realization is liberating, for it reminds you that you are not bound by the limitations of the external world. So, you are infinite, connected to a source of wisdom and power that is always accessible, no matter what is happening around you. Stillness is the key to living a life of purpose, peace, and authenticity. It is the space where you meet your true self, free from the noise and distractions of the world. It is the foundation from which you can create, love, and live fully. Stillness is not something you must earn or achieve. It is your natural state, waiting to be rediscovered. By embracing stillness, you unlock the door to a deeper, richer experience of life, one that is guided by wisdom, anchored in peace, and illuminated by the light of your inner truth. Acknowledging God in all things is a profound practice that transforms the way you perceive and engage with the world. It is the recognition that the divine is not separate from life, but is interwoven into every aspect of existence. When you acknowledge God in all things, you align yourself with a higher perspective, one that sees beyond the surface of circumstances and into the deeper, eternal truths that shape reality. To acknowledge God is to understand that life is not random or chaotic. Everything you experience, no matter how mundane or extraordinary, is a manifestation of the divine presence. This perspective requires a shift in awareness, one that moves from seeing life as a series of disconnected events to recognizing a sacred unity underlying it all. In this unity, every moment, interaction, and challenge becomes an opportunity to experience God's presence. Acknowledging God does not mean that life will always be easy or free from difficulty. Instead, it means recognizing that even in hardship, there is a divine purpose at work. Challenges are not punishments but invitations to grow, to trust, and to deepen your connection with the divine. When you see God in your struggles, you begin to understand that every trial carries within it the seed of transformation. This understanding allows you to face adversity with faith and resilience, knowing that you are never alone and that every situation serves a higher good. Gratitude is a cornerstone of acknowledging God in all things. When you cultivate gratitude, you train your mind and heart to focus on the blessings that surround you, even in challenging times. Gratitude is not just about giving thanks for the good, but about finding the divine in every experience. It is about seeing the beauty in the small, often overlooked details of life, the warmth of the sun, the kindness of a stranger, the lessons in failure. By practicing gratitude, you attune yourself to the presence of God in all things, allowing your life to become a continuous prayer of thanksgiving. Acknowledging God also means surrendering the illusion of control. So often we strive to control our circumstances, believing that our plans and efforts alone will determine the outcome. But true peace comes from recognizing that there is a higher intelligence guiding your life. This does not mean abandoning responsibility or effort, but understanding that your actions are part of a larger divine plan. When you surrender control, you open yourself to the flow of grace, trusting that God's timing and wisdom are perfect. This practice invites you to shift your focus inward. The divine is not only present in the external world but dwells within you. To acknowledge God is to honor the sacred within yourself and others. It is to see beyond appearances and recognize the divinity in every person, no matter how different or challenging they may seem. This perspective fosters compassion, unity, and a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. Prayer and reflection are powerful ways to cultivate this awareness. Through prayer, you open your heart and mind to God's presence, inviting divine wisdom and guidance into your life. Reflection allows you to pause and see how the divine has been present in your experiences, often in ways you may not have initially recognized. Together, these practices help you build a deeper, more intimate relationship with God, one that informs every aspect of your life. When you acknowledge God in all things, you align yourself with love, the essence of the divine. Love becomes the lens through which you view the world, transforming your interactions and relationships. Instead of seeing others as separate or adversarial, you begin to see them as reflections of the same divine source. This perspective dissolves judgment and fosters unity, reminding you that we are all expressions of God, each playing a unique role in the grand tapestry of life. This practice also brings a sense of wonder and reverence to everyday life. When you acknowledge God, even the simplest moments become sacred. A walk in nature becomes a communion with the divine, a quiet moment of stillness becomes a meeting with the eternal. Life, in all its complexity and simplicity, becomes a reflection of God's infinite creativity and love. Acknowledging God in all things is not about perfection, but about presence. It is not about always feeling spiritually aligned, but about choosing to return to this awareness, again and again, no matter how many times you stray. It is a journey, one that deepens over time, as you learn to trust, surrender, and embrace the divine in all its forms. This practice transforms the way you live. It brings peace in uncertainty, gratitude in abundance, and faith in hardship. It reminds you that life is not something happening to you, but something happening through you, with God as your constant companion. By acknowledging God in all things, you open your heart to the infinite, allowing divine wisdom, love, and grace to guide your every step. This alignment creates a life of purpose, meaning, and deep fulfillment, a life lived in communion with the divine. The world around you is a direct reflection of the beliefs you hold. Everything you experience, from your relationships to your circumstances, is shaped by the way you think and feel about yourself, others, and the world at large. This is not a mere philosophical idea, it is a universal truth that governs the way we interact with reality. Our beliefs create the lens through which we perceive the world, and these perceptions then influence the events and experiences that unfold in our lives. Beliefs are powerful forces. They are the unconscious agreements we make about who we are, what we deserve, and what is possible in our lives. They are formed through experiences, cultural conditioning, and the stories we tell ourselves. These beliefs act as filters, shaping how we interpret events, respond to situations, and interact with others. The problem arises when these beliefs are limiting, negative, or based on false assumptions. When we hold beliefs that we are not worthy, that life is hard, or that we are incapable of change, we inadvertently create a world that mirrors these beliefs. The first step in transforming your world is becoming aware of the beliefs that govern it. Many of these beliefs are deeply ingrained, hidden in the subconscious mind, and may not be immediately obvious. However, by paying attention to the patterns in your life, you can begin to uncover the beliefs that are shaping your reality. Are you constantly attracting relationships that are unfulfilling or even toxic? Do you struggle with financial difficulties despite your best efforts? Do you find yourself caught in a cycle of self-doubt or fear? These recurring patterns are signs that your beliefs are influencing the outcomes in your life. Once you identify the limiting beliefs that are holding you back, the next step is to challenge and replace them. This requires a conscious effort to shift your thinking and reprogram your mind. It's important to remember that beliefs are not facts, they are simply thoughts that have been repeated over time. By consciously choosing to think differently, you can begin to create new, empowering beliefs that align with the life you want to create. Instead of believing that success is impossible or that happiness is reserved for others, begin to believe that you are worthy of abundance, love, and joy. The power of belief is evident in the way it shapes your emotional and mental state. When you believe in your ability to succeed, for example, you approach challenges with confidence and resilience. You are more likely to take the necessary actions, make the right decisions, and persist in the face of obstacles. On the other hand, when you believe that failure is inevitable, you may hesitate to take risks, second-guess your decisions, and ultimately limit your potential. The mind is a powerful tool, and it can either work for you or against you, depending on the beliefs you choose to embrace. Your external world is also a reflection of your internal state. This means that the relationships you attract, the opportunities you encounter, and the circumstances you find yourself in are all influenced by what you believe to be true about yourself and the world. If you believe that people are untrustworthy, for example, you may find yourself surrounded by individuals who reinforce that belief. If you believe that money is hard to come by, you may struggle financially no matter how hard you work. But when you shift your beliefs to reflect abundance, trust, and possibility, you begin to see these qualities mirrored in your external experiences. The key to changing your world, then, lies in changing your beliefs. This is not a one-time process, but a gradual and ongoing journey of self-discovery and transformation. It requires mindfulness and a willingness to let go of old stories and patterns that no longer serve you. It also requires patience and self-compassion, as the process of changing deeply held beliefs takes time. However, the rewards of this inner work are immense. As your beliefs shift, so too will your reality. You will begin to attract experiences that align with your new, empowering beliefs. Your relationships will improve, your financial situation will change, and your overall sense of peace and fulfillment will grow. It's important to note that belief is not just about positive thinking or wishful fantasies. It is about aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the truth of who you are and what is possible for you. Belief is not a passive state, it is an active force that requires consistent effort and dedication. It is the foundation upon which your actions are built. When you truly believe in your own worth and potential, you will act in ways that are congruent with those beliefs. You will take risks, pursue your dreams, and show up in the world with confidence and authenticity. The world reflects your beliefs in subtle and profound ways. It is through your beliefs that you interpret every experience, and it is through your beliefs that you create your reality. The good news is that you have the power to change your beliefs, and in doing so, change your life. You are not a passive observer in the world, you are an active creator. By taking responsibility for your beliefs, you take responsibility for your life. And by changing your beliefs, you begin to transform your world into one that reflects the truth of your divine potential. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and transformation, remember that the power to change your world lies within you. Your beliefs are not fixed, they are fluid, and with awareness, intention, and effort, you can reshape them to reflect the life you desire. The process may take time, but every step forward is a step toward greater freedom, joy, and fulfillment. Your world will reflect your beliefs, so believe in the greatness within you, and watch as your reality shifts to mirror that truth. In conclusion, remember that the world around you is a mirror reflecting the beliefs you hold within. By becoming aware of the thoughts and beliefs shaping your reality, you have the power to transform your life. As you shift your beliefs to align with your true potential, you create a reality that mirrors abundance, love, success, and fulfillment. It's not about simply wishing for change, but about actively reprogramming your mind, embracing empowering thoughts, and taking aligned actions. The world will always reflect your inner world, so take the time to nurture and believe in the greatness within you. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and transformation. May you continue to see the divine potential within yourself and in the world around you.